Welcome everybody to the September 2023 edition of Streets for All Happy Hour. We're so excited to have Councilwoman Heather Hutt with us as our special guest. Before we get to our conversation with the Councilwoman, we're going to give you some exciting updates going on in Sacramento, give you an update on our ballot measure, a quick update on our effort to extend the Ballona Creek bike path. We have a bunch of wins this month, which we're excited about, and we'll get to our conversation with the Councilwoman. Our icebreaker this month is, what is your favorite hidden gem in CD10? So I'm going to pass that over to Mark to answer that question and give us an update on our state efforts. Mark.
Hey everyone, Mark Fuksovich, Director of State Policy here for Streets for All. As many people may know, I actually live in Orange County, so don't make it to LA very often, but I did confirm that one of the gems and my favorite gems, the original Pasta Sisters, is in CD10. And so that is my answer for this prompt. Yeah, next slide. I want to just give everyone a quick state policy update. So right now within the state legislature, the legislature has like about 27 hours to pass the several thousand bills that are upon the Assembly and the Senate's desk. As a reminder, Streets for All has 10 sponsored bills, 2 of which still need to be taken up in the second house and will happen over the course of the next few hours. I thought it would have already happened by now. So we're kind of where the star is at. We're kind of past the second house vote for some of our bills. Some of our bills are already on the way to the governor's desk. We have I think as of today, we have 5 bills already on the way to the governor's desk. And we have 2 more. Yeah, let me I guess we'll talk about them in the next slide. If you want to go to that, Michael. So AB 1317, our bill that will unbundle the cost of parking from the cost of rent. That bill still needs to be voted on by the Senate today. And our bill, SB 695, which increases highway widening data at Caltrans, including VMT and greenhouse gas emissions, also needs to be voted on in the Assembly today. But once those are done, most of our bills need to just go to concurrence, and then basically, yeah, all 10 of our bills will be headed to the governor's desk. So we'll see what happens. And on that note, please reach out to the governor's office. Email him at this link. Tweet him at Gavin Newsom, and all you got to simply say, you don't have to list every bill, is sign Streets for All's bills into law. And that would be helpful. That'd be really, really helpful in our advocacy effort to see that, the citizenry really supports this. So that's it on a state update. I'm going to pass it to Olga.
Thank you, Mark. My favorite CD10 gem, my favorite cafe when I used to live in Mid-City like 10 years ago, was Blue Elephant Cafe, which closed during the pandemic and just reopened in Harvard Heights. It's amazing. They have great coffee and sandwiches. I'm going to give a quick update on Healthy Streets LA. We just got another endorsement from the Miracle Mile Democratic Club. We're meeting with a bunch of other local organizations and clubs, racking up those endorsements in advance of our March 2024 appearance on the ballot. We're still waiting to get the letters for our little measure name, but we'll let you all know what that is as soon as we have it. You probably saw last month the city dropped its version of Healthy Streets, which they promised would be better than ours, but we were not huge fans of it. If you'd like to read some of the details, we wrote a full response on the Streets for All blog, which you can get from our website, streetsforall.org. A few things in it that were kind of red flags to us were the city attorney giving herself oversight over where some of the bike lanes go, LAPD having oversight over and veto power over some of the bike lanes. So we were not huge fans. We actually sent a letter to some of our city leaders explaining why we weren't fans of it. And we're still full steam ahead on our ballot measure, which you will be hearing about so much from us soon. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Michael to talk about the Ballona Creek project.
Thanks, Olga. My favorite gem, I'm sorry, these are all restaurants, but I guess there's a lot of good food in CD10, is Hungary in Koreatown. I love their noodles. So as everyone, I think, is aware, we are trying to extend the Ballona Creek bike path east to Venice and Cochrane, working with SWA on a feasibility study. I wanted to give everybody a few quick highlights. It's not done, but this is an early draft, and these are a few important pages. So the first one is this project affects so many vulnerable communities. We looked at the Enviro screen, and the path goes right through some of the most impacted communities. The path ends inside the boundaries of one of LA Metro's equity-focused communities, and it's surrounded by it as well. As far as getting access to jobs without needing a car, this project is pretty much off the charts. It goes from the light areas, which don't have many jobs, further west, where there are a ton of jobs, and this path would allow people to get their car free. Another analysis they did was around safety, and they calculated that if this path existed, 93 bike collisions and 66 pedestrian collisions in the last 9 years could have been avoided, including a few fatalities. So this really would save lives. It's near a bunch of parks, and of course there would be a new park at Venice and Cochrane. And just to give, I don't know why our recording is going on and off. And just to give everybody a quick overview, this is where the path currently ends. It would keep going. There'd be a bridge over Ballona Creek. It would get up. There's an opportunity for a linear park right here. It would get up to Washington, cross the street at La Cienega, and that would be then going into the city of LA. It would go along the creek until the 10 freeway, go along the 10 freeway to Fairfax. Fairfax sidewalk would be widened. It would go under the 10 freeway, cross this on-ramp, and then go around the LEDWP yard and go between the creek and the yard to Fairfax. It would cross Fairfax, go along Cologne Street. Again, lots of park opportunities here. Pretty much every one of these blocks would have new linear parks and open space, which is pretty exciting. And it would end at Venice and Cochrane with a new park at Venice and Cochrane. So we are so excited about this project. There's going to be 4 outreach events coming up. 2 are with CD10, 1 with the Mid-City Neighborhood Council, 1 with Culver City. Those are happening this month and 1 next month. And if you go to finishthecreek.com, you can check it out. And we just added Spanish translation to everything as well. So super excited. I'm going to pass it over to Kyle to talk about a win of the month.
Thanks, Michael. Really happy to talk about this win. Next slide. Yeah, so Jefferson Beautiful. If you are familiar, this has been something in the works for a number of years now. And before I mention any more about it, I'll tell you my icebreaker. Favorite hidden gem in CD10. CD10 has a lot of great Black cultural staples. And so one of my favorites right now is Alta Adams. Feels like we all have a food example, but the food there is very good. Go check it out. Okay, so Jefferson Beautiful. Been looking for this for a while now. Led by a local group, Redeemer Community Partnership, to address safety needs in what is one of the densest pedestrian heavy parts of the city. And so they recently had a groundbreaking, and we just want to highlight this. So go check it out. It's between Vermont, close to USC, and Western. And so you'll see the bike lanes, better pedestrian access, beautification, if you swing by. So definitely go check it out. And next I'll pass it to Michael to talk about our next win.
Thank you, Kyle. So you've probably been following our project Marina Central Park. We want to replace what is the shortest freeway in LA County and the least trafficked freeway in LA County, the 90. It was originally supposed to be 50 miles long, 47 never got built, and we got left with a 3-mile stub. We want to study replacing it with 4,000 units of affordable housing, a new bus rapid transit line, bike trails, walking paths, retail under the housing so you don't need to get in your car to get something from the store. And we are so excited that we are about a week away from applying for a federal Reconnecting Communities grant. We are partnering with Caltrans, 99% sure, just waiting for the official letter. And they're going to be co-applying with us to the federal government. We have the support of the mayor, Lola Smallwood Cuevas, Isaac Bryan, and the Delray Neighborhood Council. So we are so excited about this. If we win the money, it'll take close to 2 years to do the feasibility study, and then we'll come back and hopefully apply for construction funding. I am going to pass it over to Josh.
Thanks, Michael. I don't know if I have a specific restaurant, but I really miss living in K-Town and the nightlife and how walkable it is, and how transit accessible it is. I have a really quick update on Beverly Boulevard. Beverly Hills has just approved bike lanes on Beverly Boulevard. It's about to go to the full city council soon, which will approve it. This will be green painted bike lanes, and it's going to connect to future bike lanes in West Hollywood and also the Greenway in the city of Los Angeles along Rosewood, and really improve connectivity along that region.
Awesome. And I'm going to talk about the Little Brea bus lane. I take this bus all the time, and I have to say that the portion that has finally opened is incredible. It makes the bus so much faster. If you haven't tried it, highly recommend. We're super excited to see the bus lanes open up further south too, between Olympic and Coliseum. This project is a true game changer. If you've taken that bus, just try it out and trust me. That's my quick update on this. We're just really excited it's open, and we're looking forward to more BRT projects. But I'm actually going to talk about something else now, the Westside Mobility Project. This is another big win of the month for us. We first talked about this with everybody last year when we were getting feedback on the Del Rey portion. We've been helping LADOT do outreach for this. CD11 has actually approved the routes that are on Mesmer, which is highlighted by the blue arrow there, and on Ohio, which is that pink arrow. For those of you who bike in this area, these are like two of the biggest bike routes that go east, west, and north, south on the west side. Ohio Avenue especially is literally just a bikeway, basically. So we're excited for that to be constructed and implemented hopefully soon. We're still helping LADOT get feedback on these areas, as well as the areas highlighted in orange and green in Mar Vista and Del Rey. Those parts of town, they're still trying to figure out where the route should go exactly. So if you bike in this area, please do weigh in. Everybody who fills out LADOT's survey for it is actually entered to win a free bike, which is kind of cool. I don't know if it's like a Bianchi, but still worth doing. I just dropped the link in the chat if you want to fill that out. It's LADOT-westsidemobility.com. The more responses we get from actual cyclists, the better these will be. And yeah, please do fill that out. And thanks to everybody who's already filled it out. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Jenny.
Yeah, so my name is Jenny, and my favorite hidden gem in CD10. I noticed everyone was talking about food, so I really love the Afro Pick art installation in the Leimert Park Plaza. I think it's a great symbol of Black community, and it's just really awesome to see. So yeah, we have very exciting news. 2 of our videos have been entered into the Better Cities Film Festival, which takes place next month in, I think, Detroit. And the 2 videos are the culture change video on driving Mr. Begley, and also the Destruction for Nada video about the real cost of freeways in LA. Both are great videos. The latter has over 135,000 views, and it's really well done, really informative, definitely worth a watch. And I'm also going to talk about the past events. So we did a volunteer social ride. We're trying to do more casual meetups for people all over LA to get to know each other and meet other like-minded folks that are into our issues as well in a fun and just a fun way to get to know each other. We have the Pasadena Union Bikeway opening, that they had a ribbon cutting ceremony for the protected bikeway along Union Street between Arroyo and Hill. So we're excited for Pasadena. And there was also the Union Station Train Fest that took place this past weekend. Was kind of bummed to miss it, but I heard they had real trains, they had model trains, they had a really wonderful display of train history. And we also, Bike Culver City also hosted a bike ride to City Council meeting. Now over to Katrina.
Thanks, Jenny. Hi, everyone. I used to live in Koreatown for 6 years, so I would say that one of my favorite hidden gems is Crystal Spa on 6th Street in the City Center Mall in Koreatown. There's a lot of really cool Korean spas if you're feeling brave but also need to relax. That was the nearest one to me. That was my favorite. We've got a couple of really awesome events coming up. On this slide, we've got 3, fun, volunteer, and advocacy-oriented events. First, on Saturday is our E-Line Taco Crawl, starting at Culver City and heading east. We'll make a few stops, try a bunch of different tacos, and it should be fun and delicious. On Sunday, right after the Cyclamini in North Hollywood. We've got the Streets for All North Hollywood meetup. If you're in the valley and coming over the hill has been a little bit of a challenge, this is your opportunity to meet more transportation advocates and active transportation advocates. Finally, on Sunday, we're doing a similar Santa Monica meetup at Santa Monica Brewworks on the following Sunday, the 24th. This is, I think, also going to be an opportunity to fill out some surveys and do some make some in-person public comment on proposed infrastructure, but Olga has all the details on all of these events. So reach out to her or ask questions in the chat. In addition to those fun events, we've also got a couple of really exciting fundraiser opportunities coming up. If you or anyone you know really appreciates the work that we do here at Streets for All and wants to do more, help support the work that we do, first coming up Thursday next week, the 21st, in Boyle Heights at Studio MLA, we've got this really cool panel with Assemblymember Wendy Carrillo, some academics, other advocates, where we'll be talking about transportation policy and its future, as well as doing a community bike ride. This is a really cool East Side opportunity to get involved. We've got a recommended donation amount there, but if you really want to attend, just let us know. Similarly, on Saturday, the 23rd, we've got another fundraiser in the Larchmont area with a few different partner advocacy organizations. And that'll have, again, food, wine, guest speakers, more elected. So you have an opportunity to meet them, ask them about their transportation plans, and celebrate some of our wins. It should be really fun. I'll turn it back over to Michael.
Thanks, Katrina. As always, if you want to help out, you know where to find us. We're at Streets for All on all the platforms. And very excited now to welcome our special guest, Councilwoman Heather Hutt. Give me 1 second, please. So Councilwoman Heather Hutt is the first woman in history to represent the 10th District and the first Black woman to be appointed as a voting member of City Council. She was born and raised in Los Angeles, and she's dedicated over 30 years as a public servant, committing her life to activism, public service, and her community. She was the first African-American woman to hold the position of the 10th District Chief of Staff, and most recently served as California's first ever Black U.S. Senate Director, working under Vice President Kamala Harris. Under the Councilwoman, the 10th District will continue to provide services and resources to residents, double down on investments to house our unhoused neighbors, build parks that are equitable, safe, and accessible, with the promise to make our constituents proud to call the 10th District their home. Councilwoman, thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to, unless you'd like to answer the icebreaker before we get to our first question, you're welcome to.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I do have an icebreaker answer. My house. Come on over to my house. It's
Okay.
my favorite. When I get a chance, I cook. And you should have seen me during Labor Day weekend with a shower cap on my head trying to barbecue, because I was determined to have some homemade barbecue.
Councilwoman, there's a lot of people on the Zoom, so if you want to put your address in the chat,
Right,
I'm sure
I'll put
everybody
it in
loves
the chat.
some cooking, home cooked meals.
Right.
Ternig, you're up for our first question. Actually, is Ternig here, guys? I haven't seen him. If not, I'm going to ask it. Okay, I don't think Turning's here. Our first question is, you are currently the only council member that has been appointed by City Council, and we wanted to give you a space to both reflect on how things have been going since your appointment and ask about your plans and platform for the upcoming election.
Oh, well, I'm actually in my office, so I can't talk about election stuff. I'm in City Hall.
Why don't you tell us how it's been going? Any reflections on that part then?
And I'm super cautious on, doing it right. So I feel like I have experience, as you said, Michael, and I really can't thank you all enough for spending your evening with me and Streets for All, and also for all your advocacy. We hit the ground running. There had been a huge disinvestment in the 10th District, and it was really important to ramp up a great team and make sure that constituents get the resources that the city has to offer. We've housed a little over 600 people since I've been here. I hit my 1 year on September 2nd, which I was really proud of. It was a whirlwind, really. Even the first time I met you, I'm like, yeah, hi, what elevator are you in? and so a lot of work had to be done quickly. I feel like I'm in a groove now, and that a lot of work still has to be done. My priorities are, like I said, the homeless and getting even more people housed, making sure things are safe. Grandma can walk, you can walk your dog. We have a more walkable community, because I'm from LA. I came home to Leimert Park by the pick that you like so much. And it was a walkable community. With the theater that was there, we could walk. But Leimert Park was my first park we walked to. It just has to get back to a calmer, safer space. That's really what I'm working towards every single day. And so many other things, better economic development, of course, making sure that we have services. So if we have a pothole, we can get it fixed immediately and not have to wait and break a tire before anything happens. Cleaning up, using our sanitation, using our 311, making it effective and transparent.
Thank you. And sorry to put you in a spot with that election question.
That's okay. I'm ready to tell you that I'm not about to do nothing wrong.
Over to Kyle.
Thank you, Councilwoman. So we're so excited to see the La Brea bus lanes go in from Olympic to Sunset, like Olga mentioned. But also, like she mentioned, we really want to see them extended. We know that extending them has been delayed. And so we really wanted to ask you for your stance on the project, and if and when you expect to give the green light to Metro and LADLT to install them.
So that's a really good question, because I'm getting hit on Twitter about it. And it's really about the community in that stretch of the La Brea that are saying, listen, we don't know enough about it. We don't know how it impact us. We're afraid that if the streets get too crowded, then people will come onto their residential streets to get from point A to point B. So I'm partnering with Metro to do a better job at outreach. So those very same people that are in the neighborhood council meetings and saying no to it can get more educated and understand the value. We know how many people go up and down the street on buses to get to work, to get to school. And it's important that our systems of transportation are efficient. But when those people leave that area, the ones that are left over with a crowd are still living there. So we have to just have balance, and the way to do that is through communication, and we're working on that. And I'm confident that this will happen sooner rather than later. We just have to do it so everyone feels good about it.
Understand. Thank you so much. That has a little bit of overlap with a later question about keeping the neighborhood safe. One that Mike will have for later in a specific area. So curious what we'll talk about there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. I think I'm next. So as you know, we've been working to extend the Ballona Creek bike path east. This year, we raised $420,000, including a significant amount from your office, to be able to do a feasibility study, which is now underway. So first, I just want to say thank you for your support for this project. We really, truly appreciate it. Secondly, for the fun part, given the feasibility study will be done this year, I wanted to ask if you think we can work together to have direct BOE to put together a grant application for the next ATP cycle to construct the path. Maybe we could even ride it together before the Olympics.
Oh, I'm supposed to be, what a great idea, honestly, because I'm really looking at the 10th district is going to be a place they're either going to stop by when folks come to town, or they're going to drive through. And I'm hoping for the purpose of all the littles that we have in our district. We got Little Bangladesh, Little Ethiopia, we have K-Town, we have Leimert Park, we have like the tapestry of Los Angeles. And so we need to make our spaces easier to get to. I would like to lean on my federal relationships to help that happen. And a partnership sounds like a great idea. getting ready for the Olympics and also just our everyday life, making it better.
Sounds
Thank
great.
you for that offer. I don't know if I'm supposed to commit like that, but
Well, we do have it on video and it's recorded. No, I'm just kidding. We'll talk about it, but thank you for your enthusiasm. Over to Josh.
Thanks, Michael. I have a question about Venice Boulevard, which is one of the very first projects we started as an organization. This idea of connecting downtown Los Angeles to the ocean along Venice Boulevard, creating a safe street to bike and to walk, and also making it easier to take the bus. Venice Boulevard is such a unique street, and we're really excited after years of advocacy that we've got 4 miles of dedicated bus lanes and protected bike lanes that opened a couple months ago. Then that their first 24/7 bike or bus lanes outside of downtown Los Angeles, which is really cool. And shortly, the protected bike lanes are also going to be extended to Fairfax. And we wanted to ask you if we can count on your office's support to extend the bus and protected bike lanes east through your district and hopefully all the way to Normandy.
beyond the Fairfax space.
Yeah.
We would definitely like to look at how we could participate in that space and how we could support, making it on both directions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, making it feasible on both directions. Yes.
All right, cool. I'm going to pass it on to Kyle.
Yep. So we worked hard to advocate for the Adams Boulevard Safety Project, and we're excited to see that progress there, including bike lanes and safer pedestrian crossings. However, because LADOT removed a vehicle travel lane in each direction, there's plenty of space to actually flip the street parking and bike lane and create a much safer parking protected bike lane. There would be a little bit of parking loss, but obviously we know the safety benefits are worth it, since cars are sometimes driving in the bike lane. Want to really just get your thoughts here and ask if you'd support doing that, flopping the two, flip-flopping the two.
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by flip-flopping.
So instead of having the bike lane on like closer to the middle of the street,
put the bike lane at the curb and put
yes,
parking in the other part of, I'd like to see a study on that because I've seen it in other places. So I've seen it like in DC where the bike lane is closer to the sidewalk. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, and we have something like that. Yeah, exactly. Katrina is just saying, yep, in Palms.
Actually, it's very similar to the San Vicente reconfiguration that just happened. It'd be the same configuration that's in CD10.
Oh, the one that we just opened in San Vicente?
Yes.
Yeah, I would be open to understanding that. That makes good sense to me. So I'm sorry I misunderstood you because I was thinking of something different. But yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I guess we'll look to see timing on that. Would be an exciting change.
I think it'd be safer too.
Definitely.
I always wondered about that. I was like, why does this say? But
So my question is regarding the Metro K line, which is one of the most exciting metro projects. It's a northern extension from the E line all the way to the B line. And much of this project will pass through CD10, your district, and the alignment range from going up to San Vicente all the way to going up Crenshaw and San Vicente to going up La Brea. And we were wondering if you have taken a position on which alignment you feel would best serve your district and the greater region.
you mean, do I support it or would, say it again, please?
So do you have an opinion on which of the alignment options you are leaning towards?
La Brea or La Cienega, is that the question? Is that the question? Either way, I support it, whichever one makes the most sense. If
There's
it's-
one alignment that would go up San Vicente all the way. There's one alignment that would go up kind of zigzag around Fairfax. There's one that would go straight up La Brea. It's early, so it's fine if you don't have a position yet, but we were just curious if you had.
But no, but either way, whichever one would make the most sense. I'm pretty sure that as it comes along, I'll have more information and you'll share more information.
Yeah,
But-
they're still in the kind of early phases, but so you're
Either
just
way
saying
that
that
we
you,
can extend so there's more connectivity, yes.
okay, we'll follow up maybe once we get a couple more options from Metro. I think next question is from Katrina.
Thanks so much. So our next question is about Koreatown. In August 2021, Streets for All won a grant from SCAG to do a pop-up event on 6th Street, and the street was shut down between Alexandria and Catalina, so a couple blocks for a half a day. We had street performers, outdoor dining, games, and the street space was really reimagined. And we did this in partnership with another org, Walk and Rollers, as well as the local neighborhood council there. We got a lot of mostly positive feedback in a survey from businesses and community members in multiple languages. But of course, it was sad to see 6th Street just go back to business as usual the next day. And, Streets for All is really excited about the possibility for pedestrianized streets across the city. We've seen around the world that they're really good for revenue for small businesses, for restaurants, like we have a big restaurant community there. And this also includes more sales tax revenues for cities. So this was a couple years ago, but we wanted to ask you now what your thoughts are on pedestrianizing 6th Street, and if you'd support that as a method for providing a park-poor part of the city with new recreational space and also boosting the business community there as well.
Yes. I think it's a fabulous idea, really. I think it will give you that opportunity to have a more walkable space to get to here and move to there. Yes, I would support that.
We'd be happy to follow up later with, the results we got from the survey and pictures and talk about how we can pick that up again.
Yeah, I feel like it would not just be, I think it would not just be shutting the street. I think it would be fun, right? If you made it fun, it would be a destination.
Yeah, of course, the biggest example in the past is, the 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica. There was also a temporary.
I remember that,
local
believe it or not. I remember that when you could drive through 3rd and all of that. Yeah.
Big
And
change.
it made all the difference in the world. Yeah, that's smart. And by the way, I am cobbling money to expand Pio Pico Park.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Library into a park, yeah, just so you know.
That's perfect, because our next question is actually about parks. We are backing a grassroots plan known as San Vicente Park, which reimagines turning San Vicente from Venice Boulevard all the way to Beverly Hills and West Hollywood into a long linear park with local access for cars. And this would stretch across CD5 and 10. It would include walking trails, bike paths, more trees, massive park space. The project was imagined by an architect who actually lives along the corridor. And we wanted to ask if you've heard about any of the grassroots talk about this and get your take on whether this is something you might support studying.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I lived at Hauser between San Vicente and Olympic, right? And that's exactly what you wanted to do. You wanted to play in that space between Cochran and Hauser. Yes, I would support that because I understand what that space looks like. Even we did the bike lanes on San Vicente. I told a little story. Remember, Michael, about my brother losing a tooth and tearing up my sister's bike because there was no bike lane. So yeah, I would support that. Yeah, I lived in that space and I know how good it would be if there was something there, So yeah. And especially when you're talking, I was thinking, oh yeah, I know that route. wow, nice to connect it. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. This is our last question. We'll go to the audience questions. Want to talk about Little Ethiopia. The street currently feels more like a highway or a pass-through street than a quaint neighborhood place you can go eat and enjoy. A couple years ago, we got the idea from a community member to install outdoor dining and a bike lane, pushing the traffic away from people, from the restaurants, calming things down, and giving residents more space. It would require a loss of parking and car space, but it would also potentially make it a lot more inviting for people to go to the restaurants and patronize the street. So basically just wanted to ask you, what do you think of that idea, or is your office working on anything to improve the corridor where Little Ethiopia is on Fairfax?
That's a good question. They just did the New Year on Sunday. I don't know if you know that. Little Ethiopia did their New Year's and we shut the whole street down, right, for the New Year's. And they also celebrated a traffic light they'd been waiting many years for. That was put in during the pandemic, but they never got to recognize how important it was in that space, you know, a crosswalk with the blinking light. So it definitely, the street needs love. It definitely needs love. And I would support studying what that looks like for, you're saying no parking on the street on either side, and bike lanes, yes, but making it more.
Support space for outdoor dining too. We think.
Oh, and the al fresco.
Yeah, we think just it could be a more inviting place to eat and to spend time.
I agree. We did just do something they've been waiting for almost 20 years for, which is repaving the alley on the west side. So I was glad we could get that part done to help them with their deliveries and, you know, all those things that happen in the back of the house. So the front of the house, I'm sure those businesses would love to have a greater opportunity.
Yeah, great. You know what? I just lost the audience question, so give me 1 second. While I'm doing this, I wanted to give you a space. Do you have any transportation priorities or public space priorities for your district that you want to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. What a 5-year capital plan will be really great. I did a motion for that and looking forward to really operationalizing what the capital improvement plan looks like, so that it's not something that is just for the squeakiest wheel, but that it has equity. And that's what I feel like is a missing piece. So that is the #1 priority, just for transportation overall. And then I think that it's important to have a better relationship between the DOT and the Bureau of Street Services and the Bureau of Engineering. I mean, like overall, there just needs to be some alignment so that we can get work done faster. I'm also concerned about what the employment looks like, you know, like where do we have missing people so that we could fulfill the resources needed in every single district across the city. And so we've been talking about how, you know, how can we do better?
We're huge fans of, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Those are just some, you know, just better quality, better public works relationships, those things that are going to get us to the city we all care about. We're all right here because we care about the future. We care about the today. So we have to work in places where we can make a difference. And that's why I'm here, trying to make a difference.
We're huge fans of the CIP. Thank you for pushing that forward. I just want to let you know, we didn't realize this till a week ago. In 2014, Council asked for a report back on creating a CIP. Department said they were working on it in 2015, and the council file expired in 2016 with no report back from anybody, just died. So all I would say is you sound like you're really committed to it. That's great. I think that's what it's going to take to actually get the CIP done. But thank you for that.
Also, I've gotten word at the end of the day before we got started that that the better coordination went through committee today and it passed through Public Works, so.
Great. Our first question, audience question, is from Graham. He asks, what transportation projects aside from the La Brea bus lanes are you most excited about in your district? And you might have just answered that, but if you have any specific projects you want to highlight.
I think that the bus lane is one of the bigger ones. I think the bike lanes that are gonna go through, you know, the study that we're doing now, and then what it looks like to operationalize the real bike lanes that are gonna take you from east to west or west to work, you know, that'll take you from east to work somewhere. I think that'll be a game changer. I'm excited about what those look like. And bike lane changes also, so it's safer for bikers. So I've become a biker. And so I recognize, I'm only doing it on bike paths right now at the beach because it's safer, but not really, because pedestrians don't really care about you at all there either. But I just think it's important that we have some more bicycle safety. So one of the motions that I ran was bicycle safety in the DMV handbook, so that people have to understand how to get your driver's license. You have to understand that you're sharing it, not just with other vehicles, but with bicycles too, and that there needs to be a safety piece involved. I was proud of that legislation.
You said you've become a cyclist. Where do you cycle most often?
Where or what?
Where?
Playa del Rey.
Got it. Next question. What are some of the most dangerous streets in your council district you think should be reimagined or rethought? And when they say dangerous, I think they're talking about dangerous for pedestrians or dangerous for cyclists.
Well, according to Vision Zero, we have some spaces like at 7th in Vermont, some spaces at Wilshire in Vermont that, you know, people are having trouble as pedestrians, and the cars are just hitting them. So I think that's a pretty important.
Next question from Richard. Would you support extending the Jefferson Beautiful Safe Routes to School project across CD10 from Western Avenue west to Ballona Creek on Jefferson? This would create 13 miles of continuous bike lanes connecting South LA residents to job centers in downtown LA and beach communities.
Right. I just said that I would like to see people be able to get to work going from east to west. Absolutely.
Next question. Many of the major boulevards in CD10 are the sites of frequent motor vehicle versus pedestrian or cyclist incidents, 7 in the last week alone, especially on streets like Washington, Normandy, and Vermont. As you know, there have been fatalities as well. How is your office prioritizing Vision Zero?
Oh, it's a priority, and I get the updates all the time so that we can do as much as we can to make people realize they need to slow down. Traffic calming measures that we put around the schools are really important, and those are also in those corridors, you know, so the speed humps that have gone in, the speed limit reduction that has gone in the school corridors. I feel like if you slow down for a school corridor, your next acceleration will be different. You won't be moving as quickly, but if you're just on a constant, yeah. So we're also looking at speed tables in various spaces, but increasing our traffic calming measures are really important to me.
Next question is about committee assignments. The question is, which committee are you most excited about serving on and why? And maybe I'll add a second part, which is you were recently appointed the chair of the transportation committee, and you know, how's it going, and what are your plans for the committee?
So this is a historic committee because it's all women, and it's the first committee that we've ever had that are all women, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but I'm very proud of that. At a time where LA City Council had 1 woman or 3 women, to have 5 women sitting on a committee is a really big deal. we lead with compassion. So when you're looking at like what we did down at Obama Sports Complex and had a community meeting, and that's where we did the introduction of the 5-year capital plan in the community, because we needed to understand what we think. So I feel like this committee has an open mind to being where people are. So a Saturday morning in a park is where you need to be to talk about policy. We're ready to do that. And so it's my fave.
The next question someone asked, this is anonymously asked, would you be open to doing a community bike ride in CD10 in collaboration with Streets for All?
Yeah.
Okay.
That we did a cyclovia between CD1 and 10, so we called it the 110. So of course, yeah.
Next, I have a question about LADOT and vacancy rates and capacity. One thing we've noticed lately is that a lot of council offices are asking for things we support, pedestrian safety, bike projects, bus projects, and DOT is so overwhelmed with requests, they can't really get to them in a reasonable amount of time. And I know that this is some of the language in one of the motions, but just wanted to get your thoughts. I think the vacancy rate 17 or 18% right now in LADOT. Yeah. We have 2 active transportation planners for the entire city. New York is twice our size and has 25. So just curious to get your take on how do we fix that? It's not just sometimes about departmental coordination, but just departmental resources or even hiring the people they're authorized to hire.
Right. What we learned in the Vision Zero report is that they're fully staffed up, which was a great relief. What we also learned is that the rest of DOT isn't. And so we have to work diligently to encourage people to come and work for the city. It's not something folks want to do. I did a job fair right at Michelle and Barack Obama Park, Sports Complex Park, where folks could go in with their resumes, take a test if they were ready for tests, and then do a interview, a person-to-person interview for jobs. So it was not just that department, it was departments that had openings overall. I had 1,000 people that RSVP to come in and do this process to get jobs. So I'm working diligently to help with local hire. And we know that it's necessary, but I'm just not like looking at it like, oh, it's necessary. I'm like, put it here. I talked to personnel. It's like, these folks need jobs. And many people got hired in the next day. So I think we just have to take the jobs to the people and encourage them from a trusted resource at a place that you feel comfortable at, which was the neighborhood park.
Do we need to change the civil service process and make it easier to hire or quicker to hire?
We're talking about that. We're definitely talking about how all our departments, we had a silver tsunami, so many people retired. We had folks that just decided after COVID they were not coming back to work. And so we're talking about ways to streamline that piece so that folks can get to work and we won't overburden our departments when they don't have a coworker.
Thank you. Next question from Alex. It says, I live on Mariposa and we've had a lot of sweeps with little notice. Most folks say they have no housing offered. How is your team getting folks connected to housing and any plans to increase Koreatown's green space? So I guess a 2-part question.
Okay, I'll start the green space piece. And that's why Pio Pico Park is so important to us. Is that Pio Pico Library, and we want to grow it so that there is great green space right there. In Koreatown is very dense, and so folks need an outdoor space. We feel like that's the right location. They're already going to the library, so you could just go outside and play. The rest of the question is we have staff that meets with the agencies that place our homeless people. And I have a homeless coordinator on our team like I said, in this year that I've been here, I've done 2 inside stays with the mayor. And then other than that, altogether about 600 people have been housed. We're working every day to move folks off the street. We have bridge housing in the district, 2 locations. We have the housing for seniors that have previously homeless, so 55 and above. So we have a project that's that size. And so we're looking at all different ways to be able to move people from the streets into housing. And we're understanding with our liaison what their issues are. Is it a DV issue? Are they in need of mental health services? Do they need to move into a place that for children? So we're working every single day to make change in that space.
Thank you.
So if you have anybody, you can call us or call 311 and we get the log from them. But you can definitely call our office if you know people, or if you have actually had an experience and it's anonymous, but you just want to say, let's check out that encampment, and we'll get there.
Thank you. Next question, someone asks, what unsafe things have you encountered while biking? And I'm pretty sure they mean infrastructure wise. Have you had any close calls with cars? I think you mentioned maybe you only bike on bike paths.
Yeah, people on the bike paths, but in the street, but potholes, but I take pictures of them and then reach out, especially after the rains. The potholes were terrible, but I did learn that you have to wait for the water to be gone before they can do anything else. And so I didn't know that before, but I learned that part. So I understand I have to be more patient with the repairs.
I hope you get priority with 311.
Right.
Next question, Olga wants to know, so Santa Monica recently passed a rebate for e-bikes. E-bikes are outselling electric cars, by the way, across the country. The question is, would you support an e-bike rebate in the city of Los Angeles, similar to the one in Santa Monica or Pasadena, that gives people money back after they purchase an e-bike?
Oh, yeah.
I guess a follow-up question would be, it's tough budget times. Do you think we could actually find the money for something like that for a pilot program?
We would have to search for it, but there'd be balance. And so you just have to work the math out. It makes sense. We can definitely look at other cities and see how they were able to provide and use a similar mathematical method.
Next question, is there a more equitable way to implement bike lanes? Right now, it feels like so many Westside communities get priority. How can we make the process easier for other communities to get bike infrastructure too?
That's part of the problem I talked about earlier, is that like the squeaky wheel. So now I got to be the squeaky wheel in this community, because we don't have a plan, a full infrastructure plan that gives us equity. So I'm asking for a plan that gives us equity, but in the meantime, I'm gonna be yelling about it. It's the same thing, Michael, when you came about the study. I couldn't wait for it to come from somewhere else. We had to get on it so that we could bring together partners to make it happen. So I'm here to fight for the things we need.
Great. So we've got 2 minutes left. Rather than ask you another question, I wanted to give you a space in case you have any final comments you'd like to share or thoughts you'd like to share.
Sure. Thank you. I want to say again, thank you, everybody, for your advocacy, for your work in this space that will make a difference for not just us, but for the future. And it is important, and it is left to people that have a desire to make Los Angeles better. And I feel like that's who you are. People that look at our daily lives and figure out, how can I make this better? How can I make it better, more equitable for all people? I want you to know that I feel that way too. I'm from LA. I'm from the 10th district and I love it. I have traveled other places and I can't wait to get home because it's beautiful. But our job is to make it better. And that's what I'm here to do. And I just want you to let them to know that. And that also my door is open. I have a full staff and we're ready to be helpful. So don't hesitate to reach out and understand what we're doing. I do want to make another announcement as far as equity is concerned. During the holidays, I'm going to be giving away 1,000 bikes to kids because I know that they need the exercise. And since we are doing bike lanes that make it safer, that it's great for them to have an opportunity to get out there and get where they want to go from point A to point B. So I'm excited about that, and I'll keep you posted on what that is, because bikes are expensive. If you want a good bike, a parent can't really run, get one. And so this will be a good opportunity. I think we picked 24 inches and something like that, which is kind of average. And, oh, Andrew added, and we got helmets and lights to go with them too. So I thought you would want to know that I'm not just talking about it, I'm be about it and give kids opportunity to grow in the bike space.
That is so exciting. And we would love to amplify that whenever you guys are ready to go have it ready publicly. That's
Or
amazing.
help build them.
You know what? We have hundreds of volunteers, and I actually think a lot of people would be passionate about helping you with that.
That's awesome.
Councilwoman, thank you so much for being here. I know we're at time. Really appreciate your time and your support for so many things that we passionately care about. So
Thank you. Thank you for caring. Thank you for having me on, everybody. Thanks for spending your time this way. Appreciate you. Have a great evening.
thank you, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Night.